Today, we're going to talk about episode number 17 from Surah Al-Imran, which coincides with Friday, April 26, 2019. We start from verse 161, which says, "It is not for a prophet to act dishonestly, and whoever acts dishonestly will come with what he took dishonestly on the day of judgment. Then every soul will be paid in full for what it has earned, and they will not be wronged." The truth is, there are 4 different reasons for the revelation of this verse, each one different from the other. The first reason says that this verse was revealed during the Battle of Badr. Why? Because there was a red cloak that went missing, and they couldn't find it, so they accused the prophet of taking it. They said the prophet was the one who took it, so the verse was revealed to clear him of this accusation. It says, "It is not for a prophet to act dishonestly," meaning to hide or keep anything from the spoils of war, you see? So, on the day of Badr, there was a red cloak or a red rug that disappeared, and they said the prophet took it. So, the verse was revealed to clear the prophet of this accusation. Who is saying this? The one who says this is al-Baghawi. That's the first opinion. The second opinion says that this verse wasn't revealed about Badr, but about Uhud. Why is that? It was revealed because of the archers whom the prophet assigned to protect the backs of the fighters and to stand with their equipment and their archery skills on top of the mountain. They left their positions and went after the spoils, wanting to collect the loot. When they saw that the battle was going well and in favor of the Muslims, the prophet and his army, those who were sitting on top of the mountain got worried that the prophet wouldn't give them a share of the spoils, just like he did with the others. Is that clear? So the prophet said to them, "Did you think I wouldn't give you your share?" Talking to those who ran down from the mountain for the spoils, and because they saw the women wearing anklets and things like that, you know? Did you think I would hide it or not divide it among you? That's exactly how the prophet himself said it. You get it? And who is saying this? It's al-Qurtubi who is saying this. So once it was at Badr, and another time at Uhud, right? The third opinion says that it was revealed about a group among the prophet's companions, meaning this group hid some of the spoils and didn't distribute them, depriving the others of their share. So one group took some, and other groups didn't get anything, so the verse was revealed about them. Got it? And who says this? Ibn Kathir. So once. All right, let's mention the fourth opinion first, and then we'll summarize them all. The fourth says that it was revealed about a group of scouts whom the prophet sent out to gather information before one of the battles. So they went out, scouted, and brought back news. Then he went, fought, and gained spoils, but he didn't give the scouts a share of the spoils. So this verse was revealed as a reproach to him. He himself, the person who mentioned this fourth opinion, is Al-Tabari, page 162. He says, "Is the one who follows the pleasure of God like the one who incurs the wrath of God, whose abode is hell? What a terrible destination." So what's going on here? The truth is, he's asking, are they equal? Is the one who turned away from the prophet during battle and hid the spoils and all those things the same as the one who fought, struggled, was patient, and did not hide the spoils? It's clear that the issue of spoils of war took up a very big part of the life of the battles, the prophet's life, the companions, and all these matters. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been verses revealed about it. Here's another verse that was revealed about hiding things and all of that. That is, to betray means to hide. So the verse itself is asking, is the one who seeks God's approval like the one who brings upon himself his wrath? Is the one who strives in battle like the one who does not? Is the one who distributes the spoils like the one who hides them? Of course not. Actually, my quick question here about this verse, since we want to move quickly, is what is the wisdom behind repeating the word Allah twice? The Quran usually uses pronouns. In verse 163, it almost does the same thing, saying, they are in varying degrees with Allah, and Allah is all-seeing of what they do. So, the question that comes up is, what is the wisdom behind repeating the word Allah twice? In the verse? The very next verse, 162 and 163 mentions Allah twice here and Allah twice there. It says, they are in varying degrees with Allah. Right? Not just that. And Allah is all-seeing of what they do. So, Allah is actually repeated 4 times in 2 consecutive verses. In 2 successive verses. So what's the purpose? What's the wisdom behind that? The second point, really, is that it's saying the meaning behind this idea of degrees is to tell you that believers and disbelievers are not equal in rank, of course. No, and even among the believers themselves, some are higher in rank than others, and the disbelievers also are not all on the same level. It's like that. There are levels in hell. It's clear that hell, of course, I've said for a long time what I think about hell, that there's no such thing as hell. But anyway, let's go along with what the historian Al-Qurtubi says. He says that even the disbelievers in hell are on different levels. One will be at the very bottom of hell, another in the middle, and a third on the balcony, and so on. Anyway, 164. God has certainly bestowed favor upon the believers when he sent among them a messenger from themselves, reciting to them his verses, purifying them, and teaching them the book and wisdom, although they had been before in clear error. The truth is, first of all, there are 2 opinions here about the believers mentioned in the verse. It says, God has bestowed favor upon the believers. Some say that by the believers, it means the Arabs. That's the first opinion. The second opinion says no, it means all the believers. And who mentioned this? Where did this come from? It was mentioned by Al-Qurtubi. And who did he quote? He quoted Lady Aisha. So that's the second opinion. There are 2 opinions. The first opinion says that the believers refers to the Arabs, and the second opinion says that it means all the believers, Arabs and non-Arabs. Who are all the believers? Al-Qurtubi quoted whom? He quoted Lady Aisha. And who is Lady Aisha? She is the wife of the Prophet. That's clear. My opinion is completely straightforward. The second point, I actually have a question. It says, God has certainly bestowed favor upon the believers when he sent among them a messenger. So, did the Prophet himself bestow favor upon the believers? Why? The Prophet didn't bestow any favor on us, because if God hadn't sent the Prophet, people wouldn't have known the Prophet, or the Quran, or even God. So, obviously, the favor didn't come from the Prophet. Something essential isn't a favor or anything like that. Who said it's a favor? A favor is something extra, and sending a prophet with a book isn't something extra. The proof is that the people, the Arabs in the Arabian Peninsula, didn't know God, didn't know the Prophet, and didn't know the Quran until the Prophet was sent 1,450 years ago. That's the truth. Before that, they were basically lost in the desert and used to worship stones. They didn't know anything, just things like that, trees, dates, and all that stuff. So how could that be considered a favor? Honestly, I have a completely different way of thinking about the idea of favor or a blessing. I actually believe that the student is the one who does a favor for the teacher, because the student is the one who provides the teacher with a job opportunity, and the patient is the one who does a favor for the doctor. Because it's the patient who gave the doctor a job, let him make money, and accumulate wealth. And also, the child is the one who does a favor for the mother, because every now and then you hear, I carried you, I gave birth to you, I suffered during labor, I nursed you, I raised you. But did anyone ask you to bring me here? Did I ever say, bring me into this world? I didn't want to be here in the first place. So what do you think about that? There's no favor or credit owed, and the mother doesn't have any special merit over the child. He's the one who gave you the feeling of motherhood, made you get up and care, and called you mom. The real credit goes to the mother and father only when they give well to the child, and when he grows up, they continue to give to him. And they give him their attention, their money, their care, and their affection. That's when there's real merit, because there are some who are harsh, but in the child's early stage, the pregnancy, the birth, the breastfeeding, and the initial upbringing, there's no merit in that at all. I mean, who asked you to bring me here? It wasn't me who decided. It was you who made that decision on a dark night to have me. Did I have any say in it? Of course not. This whole world is unfair, honestly. From the moment I came into it, I've been tossed around in 20 different countries, and it's all injustice. And by the way, I'm not happy with it at all. Not happy with it. I want to go back. I don't want this life. That's the truth. So regarding this part, if I say I owe my mother any credit, it's not because she carried me, or gave birth to me, or breastfed me. Definitely not because of that. It's because she was the one who made sure I went to school. Let me digress for a minute here, since the context calls for it. I had a father who hated education and educated people with a passion, almost like it was forbidden. Why? I have no idea. He was a farmer, and he never liked education or educated people at all. You just can't understand it. He had some kind of complex, and to this day, I still haven't figured out why. God rest his soul, he was stubborn. Anyway, when I was a kid, he said, this boy isn't going to school. He'll go herd the sheep instead. We had land and things like that. I was actually happy thinking, why should I go to school? Kids get beaten, have to do homework, fall down, and all that. But my mother was incredibly determined that I had to go to school. She insisted on it. She told me, if he tries to take you to the fields, run away. Don't listen to him. And I really did run away. The point is, what I want to say is that if it weren't for her determination, and mothers in these places, in the countryside, among farmers and all that, they never used to have a say at all. So for my mother to insist on my education, that's the real favor, that's the true blessing. You know? Because honestly, back then, I didn't even want to go to school in the first place. You see, that's the story, that's the blessing, that's the real favor. For her to make the effort and to risk herself, because there could have been a family breakdown over this issue. He told her, I don't have kids who go to school, and she replied, no, he has to go to school. So that's the favor, and I owe her for that to this very day because of what she did. But other than that, let me tell you something, donkeys, dogs, pigs, and rats all play the same biological role. What's the big deal? They get pregnant, give birth, nurse, and even raise their young. If you go near a mother dog's puppies, she'll attack you right away. So this is just a biological matter. All creatures, including humans, share this. There's no special favor or blessing in that. So let's go back to our main point. Where's the favor in that? Let's suppose that God didn't send the prophet. Well, then no one would know about God, or the Quran, or the prophet, or anything at all. So where's the favor in that? It was necessary. He had to send him to explain to people what the story is, what the matter is, what the narrative is. That's the whole point. So I don't get it. This verse needs a new reading and a new perspective. And my view is that it's simply a courtesy from God to the prophet, nothing more. But the prophet himself is not a source of favor, not at all. That's my opinion. Or when a disaster struck you, even though you had inflicted twice as much, you said, where did this come from? Say, it is from your own selves. Indeed, God is capable of everything. Here, honestly, let's make 3 points. The first point is when he says, or when a disaster struck you, even though you had inflicted twice as much, It simply means that. Because when 70 of you are killed on the day of Uhud, the day of Uhud, the day of Uhud, the day of Uhud, you killed 70 of Badr and captured 70, so that makes double. Okay, so when you were struck by a calamity, when a calamity befell you, sorry, you did the same thing twice. 70 of you were killed, you killed 70, and you captured 70. Honestly, I don't know the secret behind the number 70, but anyway, let's go with what the scholars, or those who interpret visions, or historians say. All right, that's fine. All right, that's the first part. You said that this. What does it mean? It means, how are we defeated? Okay, so this whole first opinion belongs to who? To al-Sadi and al-Bagawi. Very nice. The second point is that Gabriel came to the prophet and said to him, look, he said, God commands you to give your people a choice. Either you kill the captives, or you set them free and take ransom for them. So the prophet sat with his people and said to them, God sent Gabriel to me, and he wants to ask you and give you a choice. Should we kill the captives of Badr, or should we release them and take ransom? But there's a condition. They asked him, what is the condition? He said, if we release them, then the same number of us as those we set free will be killed. They said to him, brother, let's release them and take the ransom. We can use it to fight our enemy, and we agree that 70 of us may be killed. He told them, put your trust in God and release them. So, basically, they said, we'll release them and take the ransom. After all, these are our brothers and our kin. How could we not set them free? How could we kill them? He said, all right then, put your trust in God. So, in short, they agreed that the same number of them as those they released might be killed. All right, so what happened is that 70 of them were killed. On the day of Uhud as well. We're still stuck on the number 70. I don't know what's up with that. 70 of them were killed. Exactly the same number as those they had released at Badr. Who is it that's telling this story, anyway? God sent Gabriel to the Prophet Muhammad and told him, it's better for your people if you release the prisoners of Badr, whose number is 70. But if you do release them, the same number of your people will be killed. The people said, let's release them. They are our brothers and our kin. And they agreed that the same number of their own people could be killed as those they would set free. Who said this? Both Al-Qurtubi and Al-Tabari. Very good, that's clear. The last point in this verse says, say, it is from yourselves. The defeat that happened was because of you. You are the reason for it, not God. Why? Because you disobeyed the prophet's orders and left your positions, like the archery posts and all those other places. Is that clear? All right, so who is saying this third point? Ibn Kathir. He says, and whatever struck you on the day the two armies met was by permission of Allah, and so that he might make evident the believers. The first point in the verse, and whatever struck you on the day the two armies met, means that what happened to you, whether it was killing, injury, defeat, or fleeing, was by Allah's permission. Who says this? Ibn Kathir. Very good. Number 2, the word so that he might make evident means so that he might distinguish, in order to differentiate. And there's another opinion that says it means to see. So the word so that he might know either means to distinguish or to see, so that Allah can distinguish. Meaning, he wouldn't be able to distinguish except through this, except by there being a battle. So he can distinguish, so he can see, so he can observe, so he can know. When there's a battle, he knows who runs away and who doesn't. But that would mean he didn't know before. And so that he might know, pay attention, the believers, so that he might know, the believers. Let's try to really feel the meaning as we read, so that he might know, so that he can distinguish, so that he can see. Who says this? By the way, It's not me saying this. No, it's someone else who says this. Here it is. And so that he might know, meaning, so that he might distinguish. And it's also said, so that he might see. Who says this? Al-Saudi, Al-Bagawi, Al-Qurtubi, and Al-Tabari, the four of them. This word, so that he might know in the verse, is so that God knows, because he didn't know before. The whole battle of Uhud happened, so he could see who the believers are and who the hypocrites are. What do you think about that? All right, moving on to the next point. He's saying that there's a question here. Was what happened to them on the day the two armies met, meaning the day of Uhud, was that by God's decree and will, as it says in verse 166? Or was it due to the temptation of Satan, as it says in verse 155? If you remember, I told you when we get to 166, I remind you about 155, and now we've reached it. So here it says by God's permission. There it says, indeed, those of you who turned away on the day the two armies met, it was only Satan who caused them to slip. So here you need to make a comparison between the two verses about the defeat at Uhud. Was it, according to verse 155, due to Satan's influence, or was it by God's permission according to verse 166? In short, that's the question. Verse 167, and so that he may make evident those who are hypocrites. It was said to them, come, fight in the way of God, or at least defend. They said, if we knew there would be fighting, we would have followed you. On that day, they were closer to disbelief than to faith. They say with their mouths what is not in their hearts, and God knows best what they conceal. Here, there are two very small points. By the way, the verse is a bit long, but it's really quite simple. The reason for its revelation, they say, is that it was revealed about Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul and his companions. Do you remember when we said that on the day of Uhud, they were 1,000 going out to fight? Abdullah ibn Ubay told the Prophet, let's stay in Medina and fight them here. We know the streets of Medina, and anyone who comes here, we'll take care of them. But the Prophet said, no, we're going to fight them at Mount Uhud. So Abdullah said, put your trust in God, and then took his 300 men and went back. So this verse was revealed about them. And so that it would be clear who the hypocrites were, meaning those who weren't really committed to the Prophet, the ones who didn't go with him. And when they were told, come, fight in the way of God, they said, if we knew there would be fighting, they told him, we're not going to a battle, we're just going to die. Honestly, Abdullah ibn Ubay's opinion seemed more reasonable, and the proof is that they were defeated, and the Prophet almost died in that battle. So, basically, it's saying that these people, Abdullah ibn Ubay and the 300 who turned back with him, were closer to disbelief than to faith. So, simply put, this is the first point. This is the reason the verse was revealed. The second point is about what they were told. Come, fight in the way of God, or at least support us. Support us here doesn't mean give money. It means stand with us. Help us increase our numbers. You don't even have to fight. Just come and make it look like we have more people. They said, no, not this and not that. We are going back. So the verse describes them as hypocrites and quotes what they said. They said, if we knew there would be fighting, we would have followed you. In other words, Abdullah ibn Ubay was telling the Prophet and his companions, if you were really going to fight, we'd go with you. But you're not going to fight, you're just going to get yourselves killed. You basically decided to commit suicide. People who say that the Quran has nothing to do with reality, or that the Quran is for all times and places, but has no connection to real-life events and situations, these people are saying this to others. So pay attention. Who is actually speaking here? It's God who is speaking. God is the one saying, they said, if we knew there would be fighting, we would have followed you. God is the one addressing this. In any case, this is what is said about the second point, which is to link up and increase the number. This is what is said if you do not want to fight. Of course, Abdullah bin Ubay and those with him said, no, we are not coming. We will not fight, and we will not increase the number. We are on our way and back. And they returned. The one who says this is Al-Tabari, not me. 168. 168. Those who said to their brothers and stayed behind, if they had obeyed us, they would not have been killed. Say, then avert death from yourselves, if you are truthful. Actually, this verse also came down about Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul. Why? Because when they were returning, they said to the people, they said to them, meaning when the Prophet and his companions returned to Medina, broken, some wounded, some with head injuries, some with broken legs, and so on, they said to them, if you had listened to us, you wouldn't have died, you wouldn't have been killed, you wouldn't have run away or gotten hurt, and all that. You just don't listen. So the verse was revealed in response, telling them, no, death isn't just something that happens in battle. Death is a fixed term. The verse was revealed to tell them exactly that. Pay attention. The verse is telling them, even if you try to avoid death, well, even if you stay at home, you'll still die one day. That's just how it is. In fact, according to al-Baghawi, Ibn Kathir, al-Sadi, and al-Tabari, they say this verse was revealed about Abdullah ibn Ubay because he said those things, and the verse is responding to him. So, our verses are actually responding to Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul. This is for the people who claim the Quran has nothing to do with real life. No, that's not true. This was revealed in specific situations, for specific people, and for a specific reality, meaning a particular place, time, and context, and for certain individuals. Unless you have another interpretation with evidence that contradicts what the historians say, that's a different matter. If you tell me, no, these two verses, 167 and 168 from Aali-Imran, aren't about Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul, and here's the evidence, then that's a different discussion altogether. Alright. Verse 169. We're almost done, just one verse left. And do not think of those who are killed in the way of God as dead. Rather, they are alive with their Lord, receiving provision. The reason for revelation. Some people say it was revealed about the martyrs of Badr. Others say it was revealed about the martyrs of Uhud. Alright. A third group says it was revealed about 70 men. It was. So, the Prophet sent them to an area called Burmana to teach people the Quran. What happened was, they were killed. He sent them under the leadership of a man named Munher ibn Amr. He told him, O Munher, take these 70 men and go teach people the Quran at Burmana. So the man took them and went, but the people there attacked and killed them. They told him, we don't want the Quran, and we don't want to be taught. So this verse was revealed about them. Do not think of those who are killed in the way of God. So who killed them? It was Amir ibn Tufail and his men. As soon as they arrived, they ambushed them right away and said, we don't want any of this. You see? So the verse was revealed about them. The story I just mentioned about the 70 men led by Munher ibn Amr. The verse was revealed about those 70. Al-Baghawi says it was 170. Rejoicing in what Allah has given them of His bounty, and they bring good news to those who have not yet joined them from behind, that there will be no fear for them, nor will they grieve. Basically, to sum it up, those who were killed in the cause of Allah. Well, we don't really know exactly which group it refers to, because honestly, sometimes it's about Badr, sometimes Uhud, and sometimes the 70 men who went to teach the Quran and were killed. Honestly, I'm not sure, to be fair, but in any case, whoever was killed in the cause of Allah, whether it was at Uhud, at Badr, or while teaching the Quran, when they died, they were extremely happy and full of hope because they could smell the scent of paradise. And some say that they wished for martyrdom for their brothers still in the world, hoping they would join them. Who says this? This is what Ibn Kathir and Al-Tabari say. Honestly, I don't really know, because the day of judgment hasn't happened yet. So who exactly passed this story down to us? I mean, these people died, smelled the scent of paradise, and spoke. Are you following me? They said that they wished for their brothers in this world to attain martyrdom like them. So, does that mean they went to paradise and God heard them saying this, and then conveyed what they said to us in the Quran? Or is it that they're supposed to say this on the day of judgment? I really don't know. Honestly, is this just a hypothetical scenario, or is it the prophet who's saying it? The prophet didn't know the unseen naturally, so I don't know. Those who were killed at Uhud, or at Badr, or those who were killed because they were going to teach the Quran after they left this worldly life, did they feel immense joy? Why? Because they're seeing something incredibly beautiful in front of them. And they wish for their brothers and families to die like they did. So does that mean paradise has already started there? I mean, when someone dies, do they go straight to paradise or hell, or is it on the day of resurrection that people will enter paradise or hell? Honestly, I don't understand, to be honest, this specific verse. I really don't get it. Look, it says rejoicing, but what comes before it? And do not think of those who are killed in the cause of Allah. Those who are killed in the cause of Allah, it describes them, saying they are rejoicing in what Allah has given them of His bounty. Okay, that's nice. And it says, and they receive good tidings, not even in the past tense, but they are receiving good tidings. It's in the present tense. And they rejoice for those who have not yet joined them from behind them, that there is no fear concerning them, nor do they think. They wish for those who are left behind in this world to join them. So this talk is false. It means that these people actually went to paradise as soon as they died and said, "Our Lord conveyed to us their words and all these things. We do not feel." This particular verse, I just couldn't make sense of it. Okay. Verse 171 as well. It's the same people who were able, in the cause of God, to rejoice in God's grace and bounty, and that God does not let the reward of the believers go to waste. It means that the martyrs were delighted with the great rewards and blessings they saw as soon as they arrived. They found, wow, paradise and all these things. So what did they say to each other? That here is better than the world. And we wish for others to experience the same joy we have in paradise and its blessings. Thank you very much. Sorry for taking so long. See you next Friday.